As we start to begin this Throwback Thursday, imagine going in the post office and seeing these crimes on those 10 most wanted flyers, classroom edition. Burping, doodling, throwing a tantrum. Bad behavior to be sure, but is it worthy of arrest at 5 years old? Everything that's listed are crimes that got kids handcuffed by police. Of course, we want law and order in our classrooms, but the question is, at what cost? I've showed you this clip several times, and it's a great subject for Throwback Thursday. Here's Chris Cuomo.
Bad things can happen at school. Guns, drugs, bullying. And as you can see in all those videos on the internet, classrooms run amok. So it is for good reason that more and more police are on the beat in hallways and classrooms across the country. But in this climate of controlling behavior, have we gone too far? Case in point, the Texas girl's in the news right now for getting spanked.
After she got caught helping another student cheat, Taylor got a paddle to the backside.
Too hard, their mothers say, by a male vice principal.
Giving her a swat behind closed doors, that is creepy.
Yep, spanking, still legal in schools in 19 states. The 9-year-old in Gastonia, North Carolina, suspended for sexual harassment because, get this, he was overheard telling a friend,
I said Miss Taylor was cute.
His teacher was cute. The school later apologized and forced the principal to retire. And this video stunned the nation in 2005. Remember the 5-year-old girl handcuffed by St. Petersburg, Florida police for throwing a tantrum in preschool? How can this be? Advocates say the combination of cops and kids in the classroom is having all kinds of unintended consequences. Some of them so ridiculous, you literally can't make this stuff up.
Your daughter's school decided to have her arrested?
When she was just 12 years old, Alexa was arrested in her New York City middle school, searched, handcuffed, taken away by 4 of New York's finest.
Had you ever been in a police station?
No.
Had you ever been arrested?
No.
Alexa's now 15, but remembers her crime like it was yesterday. Doodling on a desk. With an erasable marker, no less.
So you wrote on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like pulling a knife on somebody, but you're not supposed to write on the desk, true?
Yes.
Are you a graffiti artist?
No.
Did you used to spray paint right all over the walls in school?
Never.
Were you known as that?
No.
Alexa, like some funny tag name that you had that you used?
No.
Alexa had the very bad luck to be attending a school with a zero tolerance for graffiti. And, as her mother would tell you, a similar score in common sense. She says the school officers search her, make her take off some of her clothes. Then, they don't just call her mother, Maraima Camacho. They call the cops from the precinct across the street.
When I saw the police officer go for the handcuffs, and I said, you gotta be kidding me.
So they arrest your daughter, they put her in handcuffs. Like a thug.
Right. And she was not resisting arrest.
Turned me over and hands behind my back.
And you got handcuffed?
Metal handcuffs.
At 12?
Yes.
For doodling on a desk?
Erasable marker.
She was crying. She was so scared.
Maybe you find it hard to understand how a little girl gets arrested for writing on a desk. After all, it's not like she perpetrated some heinous crime, something really inexcusable like illegal burping.
I burped and I said, excuse me. She said to quit talking, I'm disrupting.
Francisco Montano is 15 now, plays baseball. He's a slugger. But 2 years ago, when he was 13 in the 7th grade at Cleveland Middle School in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he says he got busted for burping. The school and the police say it was more than that. He was disrupting the class and refused to obey the teacher. And for that, he got arrested.
Officer came up to me. He said because I was disrupting the educational process, he handcuffed me and he drove me to the detention center.
Then the detention center called his mother, Annette Montano.
And he said our son was arrested and detained for belching in class. I said, are you seriously telling me he's in jail for burping? And he said, yeah, that's what it looks like to me now.
Francisco was never prosecuted. Instead, he's now suing the school and the police. The Albuquerque police say they only make arrests if the disruption is so bad the teacher can't teach and students can't learn. America's Most Wanted? They are not, says civil rights advocate Judith Brown Deannis.
It is ridiculous. It is extreme discipline. We have gone over the top with this, and instead of teaching children the right behaviors, instead of nurturing them, we're hauling them off in handcuffs.
Francisco Negron is with the National School Boards Association.
I don't think there's a public school to prison pipeline, and I certainly don't think that the presence of school resource officers is in some way contributing to that.
We know there are some bad things going on in our schools. There's gang activity, heavy drug activity, bullying in the extreme where the violence is real, and maybe you have to make sure that those kids get pulled out.
Right. But that's not what we're talking about. Everyone wants safety in the schools. We want discipline in our schools, but we don't need to see our children put into the juvenile justice system for very minor behavior that could have been handled by a parent.
An Education Department civil rights survey earlier this year shows nearly 100,000 kids arrested in schools. In New York, Alexa, our doodler, fought back. She sued the city.
This is not about the money. We don't want this to happen again to any other child.
While admitting no wrongdoing, the city paid Alexa a 6-figure settlement. The criminal charges were dropped, and the case is sealed. But that arrest is still on Alexa's record.
She has an arrest record.
Her attorney, Joseph Rosenthal, says the school's wrong will haunt Alexa for years to come.
For the rest of her life, she has to say, yes, I was arrested.
It's worth noting that I keep repeating this a lot because really I got a clear memory about this. That's also the subject of tonight's Throwback Thursday. Still ahead though, school lunches. From burnt pizza and ribs, you're gonna meet that person who was the head of the school lunch program, but was fired by the superintendent. You'll also hear from the superintendent. That's still ahead. But coming up, the 7 dumbest reasons why kids get suspended. It's a great repeat, and I gotta repeat this again for this broadcast. Stay with us. As we've seen, kids can be arrested for just basically for dumbest reasons like burping, doodling, and throwing a tantrum. But have you ever realized getting suspended for dumbest reasons? Thanks to an article from theweek.com, which was posted years ago, and I reacted to from Lamar Wilson's YouTube channel, which the video was deleted because I remember it a lot. There are the 7 dumbest reasons why kids get suspended. Let's try to take a look at all those 7. The first one was the creative haircut. This 12-year-old guy in Texas had Matt Bonner, NBA star, drawn on the back of his head. If you look at the picture. If you were to see this picture right here, it's a really good haircut. But he was given an in-school suspension for violating the school's dress code. And he had to shave his head bald to come back to school. But it turned out well for the kid. Once Matt Bonner saw it on the news, he gave the kid playoff tickets and autographed swag. It's like stuff from t-shirts and jerseys, not the stuff like people use, like swag. But I digress. Number 2, hugging a friend. Now I heard that a lot of schools have the PDA policy, no hugging policy, including a Florida middle schooler by the name of Nick Martinez started up nothing with giving his best friend, a female student, a hug between classes. Until he was suspended for the embrace. As it turns out, Savage Middle School, Palm Bay has a strict no hugging policy in order to prevent harassment and keep students focused on learning. At the time of the bullying epidemic gave a great concern. A mutual polite response, embrace, couldn't be punished. And this next one was T-bowing. So a group of high school students in Riverhead, New York, were suspended after revoking the quarterback T-bowing stands in the hallway. But it was just 4 of them. What happened was 40 others did this, and they got suspended for causing a traffic jam. If you actually think about it, it's a safety issue. What if someone would you be doing this, and all of a sudden, whoa, oof. Next one is going hair for charity. From Michigan, Jite JT Glaskin is a leukemia survivor, and he knows firsthand the crucial confidence that a wig from the Locks of Love charity can give to her ailing cancer patient who had gone bald. After hearing that a friend and sister had been diagnosed with cancer, Gaskin decided to throw the 10-inch ponytail required by Locks of Love for the donation on, but Gaskin wanted to go about here on 2.5 minutes before he was suspended by his school. Madison Cameron violating the dress code. And then the dress code saying that's not a stupid reason. If the dress code says you did not, no hair, well, no hair touching the collar or whatever, that's their rule. You can't. That's not one of the dumbest reasons ever. This next one really got me. It's a story about this guy who was saying, "I'm sexy and I know it," to this girl in his lunch line. He was suspended for sexual harassment. I mean, back in the day, you would sing Billie Jean is Not My Love, and you would turn out fine. She just the good. I'm not going into that. Next one. Chivalry. A middle school in Virginia, middle school was given a 1-day suspension for holding an exterior door open for an adult who had her hands full. Come on! If somebody had their hands full, you should be holding the door. You can't just go, thank you. You're suspended. Thank you for holding the door, but you're suspended. That's cold. And finally, that North Carolina boy we talked about in 2020, calling his suspended for sexual harassment, he was like, calling his teacher cute. All he said was, Miss Taylor is cute. He didn't try to grab, he didn't try to get a grind on her or whatever. No. All he did was say, Miss Taylor is cute. Miss Taylor's cute. That's just all that he said. Man, that's just gold. 6 out of the 7 reasons why kids get suspended for just dumb reasons. Imagine going back to being arrested for this about Thursday. Imagine being arrested for farting in class. When we come back, I'll play that clip. Stay with me. Can you ever imagine sitting in class during your work and all of a sudden you hear Do you ever imagine hearing that and then all of a sudden people go, "Oh, the stunning 1-8." You keep on forward. Who did that? Who did that? But can you ever imagine, now as a teacher, can you ever imagine hearing that and say, who did that? Julie, I'm calling the police. Okay. Number 1 police. Someone farted in my class. Okay, it's go time. Go. Police. Friends, y'all know arrest some get some buses. Calling me. That's exactly what happened. Take a look.
A boy in Florida, 12-year-old student, got arrested for passing gas in class.
Ah, come on, that story ain't true.
It is true, I have documents to prove it. Apparently he was doing it on purpose to disrupt the class.
Well then he had to come.
So the police arrested him, and I obviously don't think that they took him to jail. They took him back home. But apparently he would do it on purpose. He would just pass gas in the middle of...
No, that's unconscionable, man. You gotta be kidding me. Where did this happen?
This happened in Florida.
Man, why is every freaky story from Florida?
I know, seriously.
I know. What the hell's going down in Florida, man? It's crazy. You can't arrest a kid for farting. How old is the kid?
12 years old.
12 years old? He's a 12-year-old boy. You know what they do? They fart. You can't arrest him for that. I don't care if he does it 28 times in a row.
He did that.
Look. You can suspend him. You can give him detention. You can kick him out of class, give him detention. It's not that I'm morally permissible, that I have no moral anchor as a lid, right? No, but come on, dude. You can even suspend him because he's an excessive farter. Okay? But you can't arrest the 12-year-old for farting. I don't know why I have to explain these things to people.
Right.
I mean, what cop in their right mind was like, oh, yeah, let's write this kid up?
I don't really know how that's even legal. I mean, and he did other things, like he would turn off the computers in class to disrupt others.
Oh, see, I knew this story wasn't true.
But why is that any worse? I mean, he turned off the computers, boo-hooed in, turned it back on.
Yeah, again, you can't arrest them for that either. But I wonder if they had. See, now you're like they can make an argument about something about property, right? I don't believe that argument, and you should definitely not arrest them for that either. But it's not just the farting. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, it's the farting coupled with him turning off the computers.
That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all the documents say.
This is from Smoking Gun, so it's a real story. Okay, but all right. Well, it's just what the problem is. Like, we used to be kids, right? And they used to let us be kids. I remember I farted in Miss Elefante's class.
Interesting.
And Miss Elefante was like, "Who did that?" And she was outraged, and she demanded to know who farted, and nobody would say, and we had a great time.
Why would she do that? That's so cruel. Did you do it on purpose?
I was a 12-year-old kid. I was almost exactly 12. I might have been 11, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, I probably did it on purpose. Yeah, I'm sure I did it on purpose, because I was a wise ass, right? Okay, anyway, they didn't arrest us for that back then. We used to get into fights all the time and they wouldn't arrest us.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you sneeze the wrong way and they arrest you. I don't know, man. If there isn't more to that story, arresting him just based on turning computers on and off and farting is absolutely outrageous. We gotta give kids their childhood back, man. Let them fart! Let them fart!
Kids fart all the time. They're kids. What are you gonna do? Arrest them? Put them back home? What in Florida? What did Florida politicians drink in the lobby, passing along, going, we need to make a law say kids can't fart in class. Yeah, that's a good idea right there, man. Go. Let's make laws like this. We're gonna make some laws like this. Law passed, and it's like, okay, class, new law from now on, no farting in class, otherwise we'll arrest you. And I'm thinking that it must have been the Florida politicians who were drunk off their ass. But it was just funny. Freaking funny, man. Freaking funny. Flipping funny, man. I gotta get a hold of myself. Come out next. Those school lunches. From burnt pizza and ribs to one of the most viral videos happened 10 years ago.
The Guardian is the best public...
Sorry. From burnt ribs and pizza to the viral video that happened 10 years ago. You'll see all of that next, so stay with us. This is going to be really interesting. You may remember 3 or 4 years ago, we focused in on a bunch of school lunches. Take a look at these. Look at that. Does that look like a pizza to you? Does that look like a well-done pizza? It is a well-done pizza. We've been focusing on school lunches since I've been talking about closed campus. Now, for those who don't know closed campus is a policy based upon schools saying that students are not allowed to leave campus at any time during the school day. When I was in school, I would see kids getting McDonald's, Subway, Long John Silver's, anywhere. Nowadays, they get their phones and go DoorDash, Taco Bell, whenever it comes to the school, which is strictly prohibited. But in this story right here, you're gonna meet the suspended employee. You're gonna hear from the superintendent and the students, who all have some very disgusting stories to tell about those lunches. Here's Wilson Hibley.
They're awful.
Pictures of burnt pizzas and something so charred it is hard to identify fill Beth Paulette's camera roll.
What is that?
Those are the ribs, supposedly.
Paulette says her sons first showed her the pictures of the cafeteria food at King and Queen Central High School on Monday, and other students confirmed their story.
It just looked so unappetizing. I could not even bring myself to even try it at all.
We brought those concerns to Superintendent Dr. Stanley Jones, who was out of town but spoke to us over the phone.
Would you want the children here eating food that looked like that? Or being served food that looked like that?
Jones admitted there is a problem and confirmed the head of food services for the entire school system was suspended a couple of weeks ago.
If an employee is suspended, generally going to be related to performance.
I have an email that
But we talked to that suspended employee, Suzanne Gilbertson, and she says none of this is her fault.
My cafeteria employees have always been told if you're not going to eat it, don't serve it to the students.
Gilbertson says the superintendent put someone in charge of the high school's cafeteria a few months ago, and she says that person is not properly trained. On top of that, Gilbertson says these emails show that she reached out to Dr. Jones about the issue, but she was told she did not have any authority over the new manager.
I was advised that these employees, they don't report to me as they report to human resources and to the superintendent.
Now, the superintendent also told me he expects his food services employees to work together as a team, and if they did, this issue wouldn't exist. He said he would address the overcooked food with his staff immediately. As for Gilbertson, she plans to address the school board with her concerns at their next board meeting. Working for you tonight, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
I think she may be right. You shouldn't be suspending an employee for something like this. Neither should you be getting having a cold lunch. You're about to be a mother who was outraged over that school lunch. As you see right here, that's the culprit right here. See that? That's Cheez-Its, that's some carrots, that's yogurt, and that's raisins. Take a look. Because really, we focus on a bunch of school lunches, and kids nowadays think, oh, I'm not going to eat that lunch. Take a look.
Only on two, a Coweta mom was shocked after she saw this on her child's lunch plate, and immediately other parents started chiming in on social media.
Take a look. 2 Works for You reporter Travis Guillory has the school's response and shows us if this meal meets their guidelines.
So tell me about your school lunch.
Crystal Skinner had lunch with her 3rd grade son at school, but was stunned when his neighbor opened his plate.
I asked my son, I said, what is that he's eating? And he's like, that's the cold plate, Mom. And I said, is that all you get on a cold plate?
A lunch her own son admitted to eating up to 3 days a week. Her first thought?
Where's the rest of your food?
USDA guidelines sets out that you're to offer a half a cup of fruit, half a cup of vegetable, a half a cup of grain, a whole cup of meat, and a cup of milk or juice.
Coweta Public Schools Director of Nutrition explained their guidelines.
So they could take a fruit, a milk, and a juice, and it'd be 3 out of the 5 and still qualify as a reimbursable meal.
We sent the picture of this lunch to registered dietitian Dr. Jennifer Jackson. She said Cheez-Its is not an acceptable whole grain component since the ingredient is wheat flour and not whole grain. However, she went on to say that yogurt is an acceptable meat alternative. Looking at this picture, you have the grain, a vegetable, and a fruit. But wait a minute. The box of raisins in the picture is only 1 ounce. To get a full half-cup serving of fruit, the school would have to put 4 boxes of raisins in the plate.
I just don't think they're putting enough time and effort into what they're actually serving the kids. Like, they're just trying to follow the guidelines and just throwing stuff in there.
Coweta Public Schools stands by their claim that the lunches meet regulations, something Skinner doesn't argue with, but wishes something could be done.
I was unaware that this was going on at the school, so that's what hurt me, because if I knew, I would have been sending a lunch to school with him every day.
In Coweta, Travis Guillory, 2 Works for You.
Now take a look at these nasty pictures. Just look at that.
I felt like I wanted to throw up. It was horrible.
High school students in Southwest Florida telling 4 in their Corner enough is enough when it comes to food in their lunchroom. Several students in Lee County reaching out to us with pictures of food they say is rotting or undercooked. Hi, I'm Patrick Nolan.
And I'm Amy Wegman. They say the quality of their food dropped when the school district began offering free lunches for everyone. And they say they'd gladly pay for their lunches if it means better food for everyone. 4 in Your Corner's Lisa Greenberg joining us live from the school that these girls go to. She's got the district's response tonight. Lisa.
Well, Patrick and Amy, both girls I talked to asked me to make this perfectly clear. They have no issue with South Fort Myers High School. They love going here. They love being students here, but what they do have an issue with is the food being served in Lee County schools.
Pink chicken, just nasty food, just not undercooked and it's just nasty.
South Fort Myers High School student Chloe Wright describing the sandwich she was eating today, telling me the sight of her friend Evie Chesley's orange chicken made her take a closer look at her own.
Evie cut into her food and it was all pink, so while I was eating my chicken sandwich, I finally looked into it and it had like pink lines running through it. It was just bright pink. It was horrible.
And Evie tells me it wasn't just a one-time thing.
It happens pretty much almost every time we get chicken or any other kind of like meat. There's always usually some pink in there.
They say it's not just the chicken either. Evie says earlier this week she bought a bag of nachos.
I was eating the chips and then I look in the bag and there's like this fried little black thing in there. Don't know what it was. It was really gross. Like I just stopped eating after that.
Another student taking this picture of an orange.
The orange was cut into and it was nasty and black and gross. It was horrible.
Chloe tells me when she had issues with her food before, she brought it to the lunch workers' attention.
She completely turned me down. She just said that it wasn't her business.
I reached out to the school district. A spokeswoman tells me we serve about 100,000 meals each day. Like any large establishment serving food, anomalies can and do occur. Food Services says the item in the nacho chips appears to be something that entered the packaging in the manufacturing process. As for the orange, quote, oftentimes this internal decay is not noticeable from the outside. Neither address the photos of the chicken.
Some kids, like, that's their only meal. So when they come to school and they get that, it's just kind of...
The school district says they also always buy top quality products. Meanwhile, Evie's mom tells me she'll be visiting the school cafeteria and the kitchen within the next few days to see food prep for herself. For now, reporting live in South Fort Myers, Lisa Greenberg, Fox 4, in your corner.
That's enough. That's enough. You know what? That's enough. Unhealthy stuff, raw stuff, that's enough. There were serving areas out there. I won't play them for you all, but there ain't gonna be enough time. But there is one more, though. There is one. One more that would really, you know what? I'm gonna play for you when we come back. That way you guys can just understand. So, would you stay with me, will you? Do y'all remember 10 years ago when Michelle Obama was First Lady and Barack Obama was President? The former First Lady was all like getting everyone like exercise and all. That's why they created the school lunch law, which says they're required to eat a fruit or vegetable. But what was really going on back then? Here's Jim Avila.
You need a fruit or vegetable, sweetheart?
It's a noble effort, but an ABC News investigation shows the USDA's new school lunch guidelines are not going down so well with many kids across the country. America's public school students protesting the new federal war on child obesity with guidelines promoting smaller portions, fewer calories, less meat and cheese, and more fruits and vegetables, all aimed to control obesity, which kills more Americans than any cancer. Some of the protests hit the internet in dramatic fashion, like this lunchroom revolt.
Give me some seconds, I need to get some food today. My friends are at the corner store getting junk so they don't waste away.
Students at this Kansas high school creating a viral video protesting the new calorie-cutting menus in their cafeteria. Rules limit elementary schoolers to 650 calories, 700 calories for middle schoolers, and 850 for high schoolers.
It's roughly the same amount of calories, but it's a different mix of how you get to those calories, and we think it's based on the science is a more nutritious mix.
But the result of all that healthy food, say many parents and kids, is a dramatic increase in plate waste.
Sometimes the food is just nasty.
In fact, the only known study of food waste under the new guidelines contains a startling statistic. Kids are now throwing away twice as much food as last year.
If you just plop the vegetables and plop the fruit there and don't do anything else, waste goes up. Waste goes up about 97%.
We visited a school in suburban Chicago just this month where middle schoolers analyzed their lunch waste and were shocked to find 46 boxes of unopened pears.
They're all unopened, totally unopened.
The week before, all 111 vegetable containers served were thrown away.
Schools tell us that they're seeing a 50% increase in the amount of lunchroom trash.
They're just too healthy almost.
I try my hardest, but it does not work.
Angie Reynolds at Virginia's Holston High School says kids are bringing their own and only take the fruits and vegetables when she forces them. They complain the food is tasteless.
A lot of it is going in the trash.
The secret ingredient perhaps missed most by the students and even the lunch ladies is so secret it's hidden way back here in the supply room behind a locked door and underneath one of the boxes. That ingredient? Salt. The new school lunch rules place limits on salt, ketchup, and sugar, flavors kids crave.
The first rule of food is that nobody's going to get any nutrition out of it if you don't eat it. The trash can does nothing for you nutritionally.
But the USDA says it's working in some schools.
We're seeing elementary school children probably more receptive to this than high school students, which is understandable because high school students have gone through perhaps 10 or 12 years of schools with a different sort of formula.
And that Cornell study finds there are creative ways to cut down on plate waste, that by moving the healthy choices to the front of the buffet and making up names for vegetables like power beans or X-ray vision carrots, plate waste will drop dramatically.
That's what makes all the difference in whether it's eaten or thrown out.
Oh, they love salad.
Moves that could help the modern-day lunch lady cut down on plate waste and America's kids cut down on childhood obesity. For Nightline, I'm Jim Avila in Bristol, Virginia.
But that doesn't stop there. 2020 also did a story about this with the same viral video. And it made headlines. And that viral video that you're about to see, it made headlines. You're gonna meet the person who rewrote the hit song and rewrote the lyrics in her own way. We'll play that story when we return. Stay with us. There are time-honored high school traditions, horrible cafeteria food, and food fights. Maybe because the food is so bad. 10 years ago, if you were in some schools, they had a lunch policy which saying you had a limited amount of calories. And you had to take the fruits and vegetables. But now, it's got to be healthy. Big Brother and those cafeteria ladies are counting those calories. Those are fighting words. Now, kids fought back years ago. Tonight, you're going to see that viral video and meet the person who rewrote the lyrics from that hit song. Here's Matt Gutman.
Since the creation of Mystery Meat, the school cafeteria has held a certain mystique.
Bananas can be served in many different and many attractive ways.
A place of grazing and mean girls hazing.
Gina, you're wearing sweatpants. It's Monday.
So?
So that's against the rules, and you can't sit with us.
Whatever.
But the latest lunchroom drama is playing out far from the gilded streets of Hollywood. America is fat, and getting healthy is a national priority. But resistance is popping up all over, from Parsippany, New Jersey, where today students boycotted the new federal school lunch program, and in the unlikeliest place for a mutiny.
I know I gave up on food months ago.
A tiny rural school in Kansas, the graduating class of just 18, whipping up this musical parody, and it's stirring the pot via YouTube this week on a very national issue. Over 700,000 viewers have watched this video of high schoolers singing about their hunger pangs, athletes turning into narcoleptics, and first graders crawling zombie-like from lack of food. So what's to this musical lament? The video gone viral tells the tale of students who seem to think the smaller portions and healthy fare in the school lunch menus leaves them downright depleted. New federal guidelines shifted the lunch tray around. Gone is the standby of the puffy white roll and the potatoes. Now, there are a lot more fruits and vegetables, all the stuff your mother wants you to eat. Except Mother Now is Uncle Sam, which limits the number of calories high schoolers get to 850.
Why? Because a third of our youngsters are obese or at risk of being obese.
But the kids here in the land of ruler straight roads and big sky say their stomachs are growling. And they're asking for more, please. It all started here 4 weeks ago in Elaine Fisher's school kitchen when this kind-hearted lunch lady served up an unappetizingly sad but federally approved breadstick.
So I texted Linda, and literally within an hour or so, she had the lyrics written up, and it just kind of went from there.
And that's Linda O'Connor. She's the English teacher who took the hit song We Are Young by the group Fun and rewrote the lyrics into We Are Hungry. I can't begin to imagine how many times you must have heard kids complain about school lunches. I wonder, how is this different?
For 20 years, I've always been prepared for kids being hungry at the end of school. That's nothing new, but I'm not prepared for kids being hungry an hour after they eat. It's the lack of protein and it's the lack of carbohydrates that is causing the hunger.
Nutritionist Bonnie Taub-Dix
that
says that's baloney.
the problem is not so much that not enough food is being served. Perhaps some of the food that's being served is not the kids' favorites. Half your plate fruits and veggies. It's foreign to most kids. That's why they're not eating it.
Now I know that this is not all that you got.
The famished star of the video is a young cowboy named Callahan Grunt. He's gotten so big around here that his I Love Beef shirt is turning into a hot fashion item. You should get some royalties for that shirt, right? No?
I don't need them. I was just too hungry. I may not look like I eat a lot of food, but I eat a ton of food.
Those protein cravings ironic since this is the land of beef. Callahan has nearly as many livestock on his ranch as there are people in his hometown of Sharon Springs, Kansas. Population 800. So how's this working out? In this one school town, lunch lady Elaine has to give the kids, by law, what the government wants.
When you have to give a high schooler a whole cup of fruits and vegetables, and they look at that and think, oh.
It's really torture, isn't it? A
yes.
whole cup of vegetables? It's a terrible thing. I'll let you guys get back to class. So this intrepid reporter hit the lunch line.
Make sure you eat it all today.
Today's offer, chicken quesadilla. Inside, a few lonely specks of meat. It's no wonder teens are tossing the healthy food and turning to the food underworld. Sometimes the outside food is brown bagged as healthy. Look at that, broccoli? Most often, it's not, and those who can afford it march off to the nearest convenience store at lunchtime. They call it junking up. Secret stashes squirreled away in school lockers. Wow, this is like a refrigerator. This is great. Are these Fruit Loops? Chloe Springfield revealing her stockpile of goodies. And what is this one? You're kidding me. This is actually your locker. So it's no wonder fruits and veggies are a tough sell.
It's hard for everyone to change their eating habits because as they're called habits.
I'll take a little one. And to our surprise, we discovered that the lower we went in grade levels, the healthier the habits. The little ones even let me in on a secret. Government rules are flexible.
We go back in a second.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Do you ever leave lunch hungry?
Dad.
Do you ever go back to class hungry? Never.
I need to get some food today. My friends are at the corner store getting junk so they don't waste away.
Maybe the teens could take a healthy lesson from the younger kids.
It's probably a lesson for all of us. If you watched this back then, and you probably know. What's the moral to this after all? Here's my moral compass to it. If you don't like what they serve, if you eat a lunch at home, you bring lunch from home. That's the moral compass here. When we return, the final item of Throwback Thursday. Remember As American As? Chris Spear is going to explain to you Franks and Dogs. Stay with us. Last season, I gave you guys an updated one on As American As. Now, remember the first one, I didn't even mention the whole hot dog thing because I forgot to pause the damn video. But this time is a great subject with Throwback Thursday. It's one of the few moments in 6 years I forgot to press the pause button on my camera. This was the clip I'm about to show you. This was it. We talked about baseball, we talked about hot dogs, apple pie, in that order. Trust me, next Thursday, We may do that. As a matter of fact, here it is. Here's Chris Brewery.
Mustard, pickle relish, onions.
The hot dog is an American icon, and it has been since the turn of the last century. It's both funny because of the idea of a hot dog, the name hot dog, and they're also quite delicious.
Hot dogs are like the summer food, like hot dogs, baseball, apple pie. Put the condiments on it, and you got a great meal, basically.
I think just taste it from right up.
They're good. That's all there is to it.
They're so embedded in American folklore. It is the first portion control product, so that it could be sold easily at boardwalks, baseball games, all sorts of fairs. The hot dog has two origins. One is the Wiener, which is a Vienna sausage, and the other is a Frankfurter, which is a German sausage, supposedly from Frankfurt. These were brought to America, not hot dogs, but those sausages, by German immigrants in the middle of the 19th century. Hot dogs as we know them today emerge around the turn of the 20th century, and the reason is because of the introduction of machinery which could make the kind of emulsion, that's what the hot dog's made out of, that is really finely ground up stuff.
I live in denial. I'd rather not know what I'm eating. As long as it tastes good, I'll eat it.
The ones in New York came with Polish and Russian immigrants who settled there, but the Chicago ones, and mostly it's because of the Vienna Beef Company, are Hungarian. Their sausage maker in the 1920s was Hungarian, and he brought this Hungarian flavor. And that became the Chicago style.
We're the best hot dog in Chicago!
And that remains, that difference, the great divide in hot dogs.
Sports Radio 670.
Holy cow!
How are you, Harry?
I'm not so bad. I wish the Cubs could get somebody out, for God's sake.
I know.
Chicago is a big hot dog town to begin with. Chicago's an independent restaurant town, and I had 3 hot dog stands in this town, and you know what? People love hot dogs, and I used to set my hot dog stands up across the street, from McDonald's, because I knew they did the survey, and wherever there was a McDonald's, I know there was a lot of foot traffic, and people wouldn't want the hamburgers. They'd say, hey, let's go get a hot dog.
My first hot dog was eaten at Coney Island at Nathan's hot dog stand. I was taken out there as a kid. It was just after World War II, and it was great. The New Yorkers have garlic in it. Chicago more subtle, spicy, many more spices. Myself, I'm a Chicago hot dog fan.
There you go.
And I think they're the best hot dogs in the world. Chicago really is the hot dog capital because of all the stands. There are roughly 3,000 hot dog stands in and around the city, maybe more. And Chicagoans identify their neighborhoods with hot dog stands. And you can start an argument in Chicago anytime by saying, which is the best hot dog stand?
Native Chicagoan Joe Mantegna is shooting his latest movie, Uncle Nino, in a Chicago suburb.
I go back to when I was a little kid, growing up in Chicago. I still remember my mother would give me, on school days. She was at work. My dad was at work. So they'd give me a quarter to buy 2 hot dogs, to come home at lunchtime from my school, walk home and sit in my grandmother's living room in front of the black and white television and watch the afternoon shows and eat these 2 hot dogs, with the poppy seed buns, mustard, tomato, and a pickle.
It has chopped onions. It has bright green relish, and it has to be neon green. There's no substitute, and sometimes celery salt. Depends on your taste. One of the beautiful things about hot dog stands in Chicago is their handmade nature, and they represent the entrepreneur, him or herself, who is trying to make it in the world. These are petty entrepreneurs who are at the bottom end of the business chain. They're very hopeful in a lot of ways. They represent the neighborhoods they're in because the iconography often looks like the neighborhood, Mexican or African American, and you can tell right away when you see them. It represents their neighborhood, but it also represents their aspirations, their democratic impulses.
At night, Chicago hot dogs go from red hot to the red zone at the Wiener's Circle.
In the afternoon, it's a normal hot dog stand.
So at night it turns around and there comes the zoo.
Yeah, I've been coming here for 30 years, 25, 30 years, and they've been doing it forever. And it's the same, and I keep coming back. That's the problem.
And there's another red line in Chicago.
No ketchup. No ketchup. Ketchup. It's not the way. Can't be done. We are all this conglomeration of people from all over the world, so maybe it's a good thing that it's this item that's part bread, part meat. It's starch, it's protein, it's vegetables. It's probably the perfect American food.
We're individualists, we're democratic, no one's better than anyone else. And the hot dog represents that. And it's one reason it became an icon. It's the food of the masses. Sold on the streets, sold everywhere, to everyone.
And also, so to everyone, is the great apple pie. If you remember the apple pie segment we talked about doing our American ads, I talked about Golden Corral and the best apple pie. Well, this is their apple pie I got weeks ago. And going back to where you talked about illegal everything. Who decides what you eat? You? Turns out, no. Nobody can decide what you eat. You are who you are. Sometimes they ban Happy Meals. They may ban apple pies. Or ban fast food restaurants. But you and I, are the only person to decide what to eat and where to eat. Going back to the original one, when I said when we come back, something sweet top off our meal, I should have just got this apple pie and just ate it right away while we talked. One person said the best pie was from Popeyes. I never had their pie, but I'm pretty sure it's good, so I have to go with Golden Corral for this one. Kind of apple pie your mom would make, and even for someone else, so. I know it's going to talk my mouth for, but we're now out of time, so that's all we have for this Throwback Thursday. I wish we could have more, but well, I'll think of something else. We'll be back in 2 weeks from Thursday for another Throwback Thursday. And coming up on Give Me a Break Friday, part 2 of Facing Danger, plus our Friday night special. Let's looks into a person who loves tennis. What did I say about tennis? That's on Friday. So for the meantime, until Friday, that's it for Give Me a Break Throwback Thursday. And a sweet treat of an apple pie at that. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Friday night. Follow us here on YouTube and Give Me a Break, including some apple pie. Pardon the American way. Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie. Have a good night, everyone.